All right, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to update tuples. So tuples are unchangeable, meaning that you cannot change, add, or remove items once the tuple is created. But there are some workarounds. To change tuple values, once a tuple is created, you cannot change its values. Tuples are unchangeable or immutable, as it is also called. But there is a workaround. You can convert the tuple into a list, change the list, and convert the list back into a tuple. To add items, once a tuple is created, you cannot add items to it. Just like the workaround for changing a tuple, you can convert it into a list, add your items, and convert it back into a tuple. So with that in mind, let's jump into our tuples notebook and take a look at some examples. All right, so we're inside the notebook here, and the very first thing that we want to look at is how to convert a tuple into a list to be able to change it, okay? So when I look at this, I want to see how can we convert this list. How can we convert a tuple into a list? Okay. So for the example, we're gonna create X, which is going to be equal to Google, Facebook, and YouTube. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave it like that. Then we'll do Y, and actually I'll move it there, and then we'll do Y equals list X. Okay, and then Y1, in brackets here, will equal Twitter. Okay, and then we're going to do X equals tuple, and that's going to be Y. Okay, and then I'm going to print X. So I'm going to print X, we'll run that. Let's take a look at that and see what happens. And so what it's doing is it's throwing an error because the list assignment index is out of range. Okay, so what I want to do is we gave it a value of 1 for Twitter. Now what I want to do is change this to Google. Okay, and then run this again. And now we get a different error. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to fix that. So let me delete this cell. Okay, and then we come in here and let's kind of go over the syntax and see what happened as to why this would happen, because sometimes what happens is, I work on these examples ahead of time, then I try to print it and it doesn't do what it wants, what I want it to do, right? Because I'm missing syntax, okay? So the thing I missed here is Y equals list and then X. So now when I run this, we have Google, Google, YouTube, okay? Now if I change this to Twitter, okay, and then we run it again, we're gonna have Google, Twitter, YouTube, okay? Which is what we wanted. Okay, so that's how you update tuples. Now to add items, once a tuple is created, you cannot add items to it. Okay, just like the workaround for changing a tuple, you can convert it into a list, add your items, and convert it back into a tuple. Okay, but to convert the tuple into a list, we can add Twitter or Pinterest with the append method in order to get that to work. Okay, so let's do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all this code here. Actually, no, we'll leave it blank. And let's do this tuple, okay? And we'll do equals, and we'll do Google, Facebook, and then YouTube, okay? And then below that, we're going to do Y equals list, and we'll do this tuple, okay, and then I'm going to do y.append, if I can spell, and then we'll do, let's do Instagram. Okay, we'll just do something different. And then this tuple equals tuple, and then Y. Okay, now when I run that, what do you think is going to happen? We didn't print anything, so it's not going to show anything. But if I print Y, what do you think is going to happen then? What's it going to show? If I print Y, will it show Instagram? Will it show all of them? It shows all of them. Google, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And that's what we wanted, because what we did is we added to the tuple, we added Instagram to the tuple. We already had Google, Facebook, and YouTube, but we wanted to add Instagram to that as well. So that's how you do that. Okay, so that's how you work with that. Now, to remove items, tuples are unchangeable. You cannot remove items from it, but you can use the same workaround as we use for changing and adding tuple items. So to convert the tuple into a list, remove Instagram and convert it back into a tuple, okay? So this is kind of a ridiculous thing, but again, this is a way that you could work around it. So I'm going to copy all of this and then paste it down here. And we're going to do this tuple. So we have Google, Facebook, and YouTube. Y equals list this tuple, and then Y, instead of append method, we're going to do remove. Okay, and then Instagram, and then this tuple equals tuple Y, and then we're going to print Y. Okay, now when I run this, Instagram will no longer be a part of okay. If I wrote it correctly, which I copied and pasted, so if I don't write it correctly, then we're going to get an error. So let me take a look at this real quick. So this tuple equals Google, Facebook, and YouTube. That's all correct. Then we're going to do Y equals list, this tuple, okay? And then we're going to do Y dot remove Instagram, and then this tuple equals tuple Y. Now it's saying that list.remove X. X is not in a list. But where is X? This is X. So let's do X equals Instagram then. Just to define it, so let's do X equals Instagram, just so we know what it is. And now let's run it. Okay? So it's still not cooperating with me. I don't know why that is. And actually, I do know why, because it's not even in the list. So let's do Google then. I corrected myself. There we go. So I was writing the wrong syntax. I apologize for that. What I was trying to do is add, I copied too much of the append here. And what I needed to do is write one of the values from here, one of the items from here for it to work. So that's on me. We got it fixed though. So we're good to go. So again, what we were doing is we're removing items from our tuple. And we wanted to remove Google, so we just put Google in here and we were able to remove it. And I'm pretty sure if I put a comma in there and do Facebook, we can remove both of them. Nope, it won't let me do that. Okay, no problem. I was trying to be clever. So let's run that again. We're good there. So we'll run that. Got that good. Okay, now, the last thing we're going to talk about is you can delete the tuple completely. So the delete keyword, or DEL keyword, can delete the tuple completely. So if I do this tuple equals, and we do the same song and dance as before, so we do Google, we do Facebook, and we do YouTube, Facebook, and then YouTube, okay, and then I do delete this tuple, okay, and then print this tuple, okay, what's that going to do? It's saying this, okay, we'll call it my then. Delete my, okay, because it's saying that I'm not defined. Baloney, it's not defined. Okay, wait a minute, what? It'll raise an error because the tuple no longer exists. So again, that's what's supposed to happen. Now, I was just messing with you to see if you're paying attention. I don't think you were, and so I caught you, but that's okay. So again, this is how you update tuples, okay? So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.